good to have you here.
Thanks for having me again.
We just had the fit of the giggles before we started. You definitely are one of my longest. When I think about founding members, you were one of the founding members of HHP, and you have been with me from the get-go. Talk to me about what life was like before HHP.
So life before HHP was probably my whole life. I've known exactly what I'm doing. I'm just so locked in on rugby as my thing. Like, there's never been any waver of doubt. Anything was to do with that. Whatever I wanted to study after secondary school, and that was all towards rugby.
Yeah.
Can I go here so that will support my rugby? Yes or no? No. Sack it off. Yes. Okay. Well, then let's look at it. And then I started trying to. I suppose I did a few injuries and stuff. Started trying to build my life for post rugby, because I got a taste of it with being injured for a year, whatever, back then healthy a few times, and then back out again injured for like another year, and I was like, oh man, real life might be coming sooner than anticipated, so it was like, how do I get ready for that? And I started trying to do some like online coaching, a couple of things that I was interested in, I suppose, like go down a few other avenues and try that stuff out, because obviously you can't play pro sport forever. So within doing that, I kind of started to get to places where I was a bit unsure, and I was kind of meeting things. I was like, oh, I don't really like this, or I don't know if I like this, or why don't I like this, and that kind of way, where I'd always had such absolute clarity on what I wanted to do, that even when I met roadblocks of it not happening, it was, I'm flexible, I can go this way, or I go that way, or I'll go move country or move continent. As many times as I have to do anything to make it happen. And this is the first time I was like, oh, I'm a bit unsure about things. And I was like, oh, this is kind of hectic. And then we met through another mentorship when I was trying to pursue one of them. And obviously we got on well a few times. We lived about 500 meters from each other and didn't know each other, which is mental. And especially in the small town, Ballina, best place in the world, Ballina, where we're from.
I was waiting for you to get in. What are we, 30 seconds in? Ballina.
Ballina ambassador, like international, worldwide. But we met through that, and then we got on well, and I remember you had you put out some offer for one of the old names that you operated under, and we'd obviously had some good chats and stuff, and I thought, oh, this is a good opportunity, it's at a good rate, and just dive into it a bit more. And having been in high performance sport for so long, I was already really interested in how to get the most out of myself and optimize myself in terms of my performance. Like I put a lot of time into my training over the years, like an outrageous amount of time. I was willing to sacrifice the standard stuff of nights out and that kind of thing, and elements of socializing. You obviously get it through the sport as well, that normal people, not professional athletes, don't get. I suppose. So like, they have to go to work and stuff. I go and chase the ball around the pitch for a few hours, and I have to go to the gym to get paid to do this. So like, there's different elements to it. But I've always been interested in investing in myself that way. So then we hopped on, and I started realizing kind of slowly, and like, it's kind of funny how it's happened, because it was like, okay, I was in this because I enjoyed that element of my rugby, but then the more I've looked at it, I've slowly come back more and more to the rugby, even though it's taken a while. Like, we've tried different kind of additions, and I felt more aligned, but then it starts to waver again, and and that kept happening, and now I'm very locked in on what I'm doing. Nice. So that's what it was like beforehand, and that's kind of, I suppose, why I thought it was a good idea to look at getting involved with it.
And I think you had the upper advantage of like knowing me beforehand, but like, what did you think? I think just before you joined, I was in the middle of the rebrand from the mindset coach to holistic high performance, and it was one of those things to kind of kickstart that. So you jumped in just at the pinnacle of the start of holistic high performance. But what did you think it was before you joined? And I always ask that question, because I think for anybody listening who doesn't know me, who doesn't get a chance to like connect with me or anything beforehand, it's hard to have that like, what the fuck did she do? Like, what did you think it was when you were joining?
Probably like some kind of therapy type thing, or like helping people in, like, I suppose that like fight or flight state, which I definitely wasn't, you know. I didn't think I was for a minute, but like like I said, I've been in high performance environments, so I know how like those, what you perceive to be like a 1%er can have such a profound impact, or even though it's way bigger than a 1%er, it's way bigger, it's like 50%er or whatever, it's massive. But I think like, so that's what I thought it was, and I'd never done anything like that. I hadn't really looked into my mind deeper like that. Like, I'd had lots of chats, and I'd had kind of one or two like sports psychology type things, and my parents would be very supportive of that and very open for me to talk about emotion and that stuff, even though I didn't know what emotions were or any of that stuff really.
We'll get onto that.
Happy, sad, angry, it's fine. Never angry or sad though, always happy. Uh, so, so yeah, I thought it was like kind of like that kind of thing, like for people that maybe like had lost a parent or had some kind of bereavement or some that kind of, or struggle with their mental health, that kind of thing. So that's probably why. Well, that's why I hadn't looked at it before, but that's what I would have perceived it to have been in the short period that we knew before we'd obviously met each other and built a very quick connection in
And
terms
kind
of getting on well and stuff.
For you, what was your early goals and kind of, I know there's an element of curiosity of like, okay, I know Ciara, I'm kind of like pulled towards this direction for some reason, but like, what was the early goals that you had at the time?
Get more out of myself. Just like for me, it was just how can I get an extra whatever 20% out of myself so that I can like push my business and it not me push and then be like, oh man, I'm wrecked and I hate this and I actually don't want to do this, and then oh no girl, I need to make some money. So like kind of that way, like it's all about, like I said, like in terms of my rugby, it's always been how can I get the most out of myself, and I thought like this is something that I haven't maybe looked at that much, so maybe it's a good avenue for me to go down, and it might be able to unlock that side of it. And as you know, like when we first started talking, it wasn't like I was trying to get more out of my business, but a lot of it was okay, well this might help my rugby, you know, I might be able to go to another World Cup or get another pro contract where I want to go and maybe make more money that way, you know. So that was a big part of it. How can I unlock maybe a new level of understanding and self, I suppose, regulation or whatever words you want to use for it, to be able to perform at a higher standard more consistently for longer.
Nice, okay. And like if you were to describe just the early parts of the journey, I think a lot of our focus at the time was around business, but then the way I work it always kind of comes back to the human. From what you understand now about that, like how have you seen the human been interlinked in like how I've supported you through business and through your rugby and stuff? Like what did you feel like maybe you might not have been aware of what was missing at the time, but like now that you know it and you've been through it, what you're like, oh my god, that's fucking class, I'm glad that was part of it.
Yeah, I think like a lot of time you see with like softwares and stuff, like the operating system is the computer.
Yeah.
And in business and in your life or your sport, you are the operating system for everything.
Yeah.
So if you're cooked or you're stressed or you're anxious or you're struggling or you're having a hard time, like everything that you do then has a knock-on effect, or has a knock-on effect onto the other stuff.
Yeah.
So like if you're not able to sit here and be comfortable or be content, of course, like for a short period of time you can push and kind of, and often you see that when people are actually having a really bad time, like personally, they dive into it and they can bury themselves in it, and you have a big output. Like I know certainly when I've had struggles in my personal life or whatever, like sometimes I'm like, oh man, this is the key to me performing well in rugby. I'm gonna get a big fat contract now, which I didn't, by the way, but I did play well though. They robbed me. So like it's funny how you can dive into it and push it away, but eventually it kind of all comes around again. And like even in those periods, like when rugby was maybe going well, like I was still pretty unhappy off the pitch, but it was kind of like my saving grace. But then if I wasn't super aligned with something else, like my business at the time, then I was like, oh man, I hate this way more now. Yeah. Like I do not want to do this. I do not want to spend my energy this way. So it comes back to you, like you're the operating system, and if you can fire from a place of, and I always go back to the rugby, right? But for like physically, like if I've ticked the boxes, if I've fueled well with my food, if I've slept well and recovered well and stuff and done all my skill work, I have confidence then that I can go out and perform. But it comes back to like a lot of the same stuff really applies towards to your business. Like if you're actually looking after yourself, then you can do so much more within that space. You can push harder for longer, but you also understand that pulling back and recovering, like in sport, is essential to perform. It's the same with you as a human and you with your business and stuff. And if you just push all the time, sure, you're just going to be cooked all the time. And then you're operating from probably 20-30% of your capacity, and that's not enough to separate yourself from a crowd in any scenario. And
in your rugby, I feel like you had a good handle and a good grasp of that, of like push hard, recover hard. For your business, for your outside of rugby life, was that the same? Did you have the same kind of like?
Probably not, like, but I think in rugby, like, you're very much so educated around it. And it's probably different because like a lot of business work is mental, right? So like you sit there and you're on a laptop or you're talking to people that way, where rugby, it's I'm running around and I can only run around till I'm too tired to run around anymore, or I start to get sore, or I can feel my hamstring or my back gets sore, or I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I've been hit by a lorry, like, you know. So with the physical activity, because you enter pain if you do too much of it, it's like, okay, I need to recover now. Where you don't always get that with the mental side. You're just like, oh, I'm tired, I'm being weak, like I'm being soft, like I can do a bit more, I can do more, like, oh, these other people can do all this, like, you know. And then there's that also, there's that culture around sport. It's like you need to work really hard,
Yeah.
but you also, like, it's very well known that like you're going to break, and if you're like, your availability is your best. What's that lovely saying that I can't remember now? Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, but like, you being available basically is your biggest superpower.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're always fit, like other people get injured, but you're always there, so you'll get your opportunity. Where in business, like you don't necessarily get physically hurt. You don't pull a hamstring. You don't have to rehab. Then
Yeah.
you just get burnt out, and you just feel crap, and
Yeah.
people can't see that from the outside unless you got big bags under your eyes or you're crying, or you're actually very like stressed and like anxious, like physically. So I think like with sport, like you're educated on that,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you're not able to be selected, you're not worth anything to anyone really.
Yeah.
You're more of and you're not a burden, but like, you know what I mean, like now you need to be rehabbed, like that's what the other staff are for, like, but you can't get out on the pitch and help the team. So then when it comes to business, like people aren't educated on that until they meet legends like you, and then you help them with that kind of
I'll
stuff.
slip
You know?
you the 50 after. Yeah. But I
back
think
pocket.
that statement is so important. That's a back pocket. That statement is so important of like your availability is your superpower, because that's transferable. But tell me, just to take us back, because we've been on a
Your best ability is your availability. I can't believe it took me 10 minutes to remember that. Come on.
We've been on a massive journey together. It's been like 2+ years. There's nothing that I don't think we have or have not covered.
No.
It's been good. But talk to me, bring me back to business just for a second, because I know a lot of people watching this at the moment will follow me and they'll maybe be business owners, high performers, but we get to cover both in this, right? Because you come from the pro athlete and then you also come from the business. So tell me, what was business like when we initially worked together and kind of in the early days of it? What was happening?
In terms of what I was actually doing, or?
Yeah.
So originally I was like helping people fat loss, personal training, but mostly like from an online capacity, because obviously with my rugby I don't have your standard 9 to 5 where I'm in the same place, that kind of thing. Like I'm moving around, like I'm gone 3 days a week sometimes playing games, and I'm living in North America or France or wherever. So I needed to be able to move, so that was what suited me, the model at the time. So like it was grand. I'd push, I'd get some clients, it'd go well. I'd end up not enjoying it because I was inefficient at it, but also in terms of me sitting down to do it was heavy because I didn't want to do it. I didn't, not that I didn't want to do it, but I could do it in parts, like when I felt good. But if I didn't feel good, I'd be like, oh man, I don't want to do that. Like I'm not really that interested, like in working in that kind of area. So then I kind of started to take a step back, probably unintentionally, by me pulling back, and then we tried to realign, and I was like, I remember saying to you, I was like, oh, I just don't really want to do this. Like, so we realigned towards working probably from a strength and conditioning point of view, but with rugby players. And instantly I was like, this is it, I love this, I love this. I love working with rugby players, like this class, like I understand the problems more, da 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 da. But then it went on again, and it started going well, and then I started pulling back, being like, oh, I'm still finding this heavy, like in terms of what I'm doing. And then we kind of realigned.
Can I stop you in that process though, because I think that's important. What was going on internally for you when you were having those, I'd go well, I'd push, and then I'd discover that I wasn't really happy, I didn't really feel fully aligned. But what were you making that mean about yourself? Because I think for anybody watching this, if they're stuck in that same like what was happening internally for you?
It's probably a bit of like, I'm not good enough for this, but I'd say my self-belief is pretty strong. Like, so, because I've had to do it and I've missed kicks to win matches and qualify for World Cups and all that kind of shit. So, like, I suppose that I'm also very open towards asking for help and looking out that way. So, like, I've always been like that. Like, because I haven't had the traditional path through my rugby of you make the Munster Academy and you go through it that way. I never got into that. You've all the people in the world telling you should be, but I didn't make it that way. So I had to figure out another route. So it was like, right, let's go. I'm going to figure this out. Ask for help, reach out here, da da da. So then I kind of brought the same into my business. But yeah, it was kind of like that undertone of, oh, how come everyone else can have a successful business and I can't? Like, oh, maybe I'm just a rugby player. Those kind of thoughts a little bit, but I think I kind of figured, like, I was like I'm going to get there. I just don't know how. Like, this just is not suiting me. But then kind of when I've such like a shallow knowledge of the business world, I was like, this is how I've only seen people do it, so I have to do it this way, you know? So that was probably some of the thoughts that I felt like, a small bit of like self-doubt, like, oh, I'm not good enough for this. Like, you know, that kind of way, maybe I'm just a stupid rugby player kind of thing, even though I didn't really think that, like, but they're kind of the undertones a little bit that you'd be fighting with. So yeah, like that way. And then I'd pull back again, and I found like I tried to go into like the rugby mentoring, which straight away I was like, oh, I love this, like this is class.
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to do. Like I'm just talking about rugby, which I've been a pro at for 11 years, I think it was at the time, like so, or 10 years at the time.
I remember saying it to you initially, and you were like, nah.
But I hadn't seen anyone do it, like, you know, so it's like the path was completely unpaved, you know, so it's like, oh, I need to make up how to do this.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I just cursed for this first
You're
time.
welcome.
Damn it! Tried so hard.
Gonna
I
happen,
was being
Jane.
so good.
Between the both of us, it's gonna happen.
So yeah, that was kind of the thing. It was like, I think I found safety in following the crowd in terms of like, oh, here's systems to do this, plug and play, like,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, I've seen people do really well at this. They've been really successful. So if I can do that, they can. Or if they can do that, I can do that. And I back my personality, and I back like my interpersonal skills of being really good at them, like really strong. From having worked with in so many groups and having to move country and then learn how to speak a language and get on with people and that kind of way. So I'd really back myself with that a lot, like. So then I was like, well, if they can do it and they have the personality of a toenail, like surely I'm the full toe, like, you know. There's a new analogy anyway.
Gotta be the cover for the YouTube.
And I look like a toe as well, so we're grand. That's why I have my hat on here. So yeah, no, I think like in terms of that, I think I was scared to be a maverick and go and do that, like, you know, and pay my own way and figure out what way works for me, and scared of also like the kind of figuring it out bit as opposed to just having the business and it being classed, you know.
Yeah.
Like I know the information I have is class and where it's weight and goal, but it's like how do I bring that across to people and like how do I structure that? Because I remember saying to you, I was like, you need to figure out like a curriculum and and you're like, but you don't know that until you go in. I was like, I do know, I've done it. Like I've done it. I was like, yeah, but you don't know until you meet the person with where they're at, which I'm sure with the Mavericks, like there's a lot of, okay, like this is what they might think they need, but they need.
Yeah.
They don't need ABC, they need XYZ, or they need whatever other letters are in the alphabet there now. So yeah, I think with that, like it was getting people in, like, and I have two clients that have been with me over for 2 years now. The first intake, they're still with me. And I did a kind of little chat like this with them the other day, like, and they're telling me I've changed their lives and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, we're just talking about rugby, like, you know, but like, it's not just rugby, you know, it's human, we are working with people, and it goes back to that and to dealing with that kind of thing, you know, and there's a lot of like, half of life is just dealing with the shit it throws at you, do you know what I mean? So like whether that's with business or with rugby or whatever, like it's just like, or with life, your own personal stuff, like it's hard. Yeah. It's hard, and navigating that is the biggest thing that kind of holds people back from probably getting them to where they want to get to, you know, and it comes down to, like I said, like the software of you, like, you know, and like understanding how you work, and if you can get yourself to fire a bit more optimally, like then you can cook, and you're not just always feeling cooked, you know.
Yeah. So many amazing taglines that you're coming out with here. I'm glad you had that coffee. No.
Wow.
Tell me where business is now. Of like, I feel like we're at the pinnacle of really finding something that is, yes, fully aligned, but also is fully aligned with schedule and your needs and your life and what you want from it as well. Yeah. Because I think there was, you mentioned there the different, like, I got there, I was aligned, and then there was still some kind of friction. Would you say that friction was kind of starting to become more of, the alignment was there with the business and the clarity, but it was like the life stuff that seemed to be like between rugby and business and life, that was kind of causing the friction, that like, oh, I still don't have I don't want to say the word balance, because I think that's like the harmony between it all. Yeah,
harmony is definitely a better word. It's kind of funny because I kind of came up with the rugby mentor, we got it going, I was enjoying the one-to-one, but I was like hating the whole marketing side of it and all that, and I was also very busy. I was in a full-time pro environment, and it's hectic, like, you know, and like you come home and the last thing I want to do is make a video for people that don't pay me, to be frank, you know. Like and then it's just like, well, you know, like everyone knows content can be so soulless sometimes, and if you're not showing up enthusiastically to it, like no one really gives a shit about it then anyway. It's like when you actually show a bit of oomph about you, like, you know, and same with everything, like we show up here, if we sat and talk like this, like no one's going to listen anymore. But if I'm jumping around like this and talk about my toes and stuff, people will love it, you know. Check the bio. No, but I think like, so yeah, like just with that, like, and I was kind of probably pushing when I was like in a stressful period anyway. So I actually tried to pull out of the whole rugby mentor thing, and I did park it for probably, well, I kept going with the clients I had, because obviously they didn't mean to get with me for 2 years or whatever, like, but I didn't mark it, I pulled back from it like completely and kind of just buried myself in my own stuff a bit. And then one or two personal things happened, and it kind of gave me a bit of clarity on like, okay, what do I want to do? Forget about everyone else, like, you know, and like, what do I really actually want to do? And even then, I kind of tried to pull out of it again because it's going to be hard. And Kira called me out, and that, to be fair, it's like, is this an alignment thing, or is you just are you scared about putting yourself out there and going for it and running at it because no one's done it? And that was kind of it, really, like, you know. And then, like, to be fair, you held me accountable to that, even because I told you I wanted to do it when I felt good, and then I didn't feel great, and we kind of circled around it, and you gave me the time to.
There was a lot going on in that period, like without going into it. But I remember a specific call where I said, I feel like me going into that call, I need to give you permission to park the rugby mentor in terms of the pushing piece and allow you to fully focus on your rugby, because like you were pulling two big levers at the one go, or pushing them, and like the bit there was, you had the alignment, but it was really hard to do both at the level that you wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's not an ability thing. That's a choice, and being strategic about, like, actually my rugby is something that I've always worked hard for. You were getting like decisions that needed to be made, like chances that needed to be taken on, and you were just like, how do I do both? I was like, what if we just give you permission to just follow that for a while?
Yeah. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, but that was big, because then I was like, all right, well, fuck this off to the side and run head at the wall with the rugby again and go well at it. And then I got another international cap off the back of that, and finished top point scorer in the league, and like was nominated for the player's player in my club. So like 3 huge things. Considering the year before I'd played like 6 games and I injured my knee, and I'd only just come back from that injury as well, and I'd played a few club games in Ireland, and like I was going okay, but probably hadn't hit my proper form yet, and it takes time to come back from an injury, you know. So that allowed me just to go absolute gung-ho, and then like from there I started making content on the side, like, and I figured out a way that kind of worked for me, and it was very rugby-esque and not like not too much in terms of like creation and creativity, even though for other people it probably looks very creative, but for me it's like I can do it in not a lot of times, you know. It's like basically having another meeting that I just sit down, and I'd be very vocal in our team meetings anyway, so like I stand behind what I believe pretty strongly in them, but I'm also in all the leadership groups and the attack leadership groups for stuff like that, so it was easy. I found a way that worked for me. It mightn't work for everyone, but it worked for me, and that was the big thing, so it brings that harmony, as you said. And then from there my account starts growing like exponentially, and I'm like, this is mental. This is so easy for me, and now it's finally working. So
I just want to take it back to that time though, because imagine if you tried to push both.
Well, I had for so long, and I didn't even want to do it anymore. I thought it wasn't an alignment thing, because I was just like, I'm so tired, like I'm so tired, and I'm so tired about thinking about having to do it, and by feeling the weight of, oh, I'm not giving my best now, and I'm not doing my best, and that probably is like more not the, like I said earlier about like the self-belief thing. Like I have self-belief, a lot of it, like it wavers from time to time, but I generally believe I can do pretty much anything I want to do. But it was more like the, oh, I'm not reaching my expectations of myself and my standards, and that really breaks me. Like, that really breaks me when I feel like I'm not giving it my all. But then there's also this, like, I'm trying to do way too much here, like, you know, like, and things that, and I feel like I need to do things that are hard for it to make it work. But that's probably the thing, like, where you use the word harmony again. And that just brings ease with it. But we've also like figured out a system now where it's like a big ecosystem, so like everything kind of feeds into the other one. So like I'm just on, and it's just rugby now, you know, and I love rugby. So that's easy. So like I don't find that hard, and even like the content creation and the marketing side of it now, it's not that bad, because it's just rugby, and I'm just talking about rugby. So like that's easy for me. Where if I have to go and bring up things and talk about things that I don't really want to do, like, you know, like that's when it was the resistance happening. So I'd be like, no, I can do this, and I charged it for a while, and then I'd be like, oh man, I hate this. Like I don't want to talk about that. I don't care about that. So why do I think other people would care about listening about that? So that was probably a big one.
I think that was a real pinnacle point in your journey, because I think I remember how you visibly were when I said, what if we just fully focused on rugby here? And you, like, it was like your whole body exhaled and was just like, oh, thank God.
Oh my God, someone told me I'm allowed.
But it was just this, like, to make that decision, like, I often think my job is so mad sometimes, because sometimes it's like, why wouldn't you have asked him to push it? I'm like, but like, I know the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
And if we look at quality here, right, you could have absolutely pushed both, but to have quality to the standard that you wanted to in both, it needs to be a choice that needs to be made. But to make that require trust.
Yeah.
Right? You talk about self-belief, but I actually think deeper than self-belief we have trust. That was a huge decision to make for yourself. That was built on like a massive foundation of trust. So you should be proud of yourself. I've told you that multiple times. But anyway, when I think then of pinnacle moments in your journey, I mentioned this before we jumped on this, and you were like, "Oh, it's cool, was it?" We had a retreat in the Deerstone, and you had just come out of the Brightwork session, and like we had this enormous hug, and it was class. But I think it started the journey of us like helping you learn more about like your emotions. I know earlier you said I was happy, sad, angry. I probably spent more time happy. I was never really sad or angry. You kind of had this like revolving door of like 2 to 3. But like, what have you learned now about like your emotional worlds that maybe you wouldn't have probably like opened up before?
That emotions are hard.
Keep
They
it close.
suck. No, I think before like I would have been. I'd pull back and I'd get quiet, or I'd be frustrated, but like not know how to articulate it, not really know the emotion that I'm feeling. Like I'd be happy or off. Do you know what I mean? And not like shut down from the world. Like I'm very much so been able to keep going, like and stuff. But yeah, like I suppose that was the big thing. Like personal stuff happened, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh man, I'm finding this really hard, and I don't know how to even tell people how I'm feeling. Like I'm so confused around how I'm feeling, and the wheel of emotion is a it's a very strange thing that opens your eyes really quickly, and you're like, oh no, I don't feel like that. You're like, oh, but you do, like you've told me you do, you know.
Yeah.
So even like a little couple of tools like that, like just like expanded my horizon, and it gave me words to articulate how I'm feeling and actually start to recognize like what things feel like and what they mean. Because like I said, like I was happy, angry, and very occasionally like anxious. I'd say I've been anxious twice in my life before. I've been anxious more now that I know what it feels like, but because now I know what it is. But I suppose it allows me to understand myself and to know what I need then from it. But also it allows me to probably feel more intensely because now I know what I'm feeling, you know? So for the good and for the harder. Yeah. Like I said, I know I've said to you a few times, I kind of wish I never really found the emotions thing, so I didn't have to deal with this shit all the time now. Like, oh, I feel sad today. Why? I've never felt like this before. And I realize I'm probably one of the privileged people who maybe haven't felt too many of the lower emotions throughout my life. Like obviously I have, but I didn't really know what they were, but like not too frequently. Like I'm generally, and you'll attest this, a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. I'm like pretty robust with stuff. I can kind of just get on with it and enjoy, find the good in things all the time. So then like when I was kind of called to a higher place in terms of, okay, I need to figure this shit out a bit. But like from doing that, I'm so much more comfortable in myself now. And you'd always have seen me as someone that's pretty comfortable in himself anyway, but like now I'm really comfortable in myself, like, and I'm very happy to say I'm not feeling great today, like, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling a bit anxious, or I feel a bit worried about that, like, you know, and I don't know why, like, and it could be me taking a kick, which I've done 1,000 times in front of 80,000 people at times, you know, like crazy numbers. Maybe not that many, but lots of people. Like lots and lots of people, you know, and in these pressure situations where everyone is looking at you, you're on TV, and if we get this, we win and we move on. If I miss this, we're out. And it's like, oh my God, the whole world is on me now, you know. When realistically, it's like it's on the 80 minutes or it's on all the prep, but like you can look at it from that point of view. I spent 30 years of my life preparing for this one moment. This is the only moment that matters now. When realistically, there's a lot more to everything than that. So like I've dealt with like a lot of high pressure situations like that, but then I think understanding how to feel and like what that actually looks like and what that feels like, you know, and I'm still learning more about it all the time, you know, but I'm able to regulate a lot quicker now because of that. And I found that when I actually articulate it and talk about it, it's really well received by people. Really well received, and that's mental. Because I perceived it to be weakness. And for all the good rugby is, like, I think it's pretty bad at that. Like, you know, don't put your hands in your head, you'll show them you're tired. Don't put your hands in the hips, like, don't show any weakness. And I understand the psychological aspect of that. Like, you're basically, well, you're somewhat, the term war is used, like, but you're going out trying to beat these other players and they're trying to beat you, and it's a attritional physical game, so it's violent, you know, it is physical, like, and you don't want to show weakness because people come after you then, you know. But like it's probably different in terms of the rest of life, but I carried that over to the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I was just playing rugby, you know.
And
so
in doing and going through that process, like what impact has it had on your like yourself, your relationships, like different aspects of your life? Like what?
I probably became a lot more comfortable being on my own, which I never really. I don't know if I found it too hard anyway, but like when I was emotional around that time, like I know I said to you, I was like, I'm going on my own to do this. I'm going on my own. Like, and people like you, my mum, be like, do you want me to come with you? Like, do you want to hang out? Like, just trying to support, like friends, family, you know. But like I remember, and I told my mum, I'm going to do a sauna on my own, and she was like, do you want me to come? Like, and I was like, no. I was like, no. And she's like, you sure? Like, do you want someone else to go? I was like, no, I have to go on my own. Why? Because it's fucking hard to do, and I don't want to do it, so I have to go on my own.
Yeah.
But I just started doing a few things like that, like, and it gave me a sense of calm, which was great. So in terms of the relationship with myself, I probably understand myself better now. I definitely understand myself better now, 100%, and I'm more comfortable being on my own and when I'm doing nothing. Like before, I was kind of, particularly at that time, I was trying to be busy, but I found I wasn't able to be busy, so like it was really hard. And the only thing, I couldn't think of anything other than the things in my head, and I didn't want to think about them anymore. So doing other things like that, like physical stuff, would kind of get me out of there. So I like dived into that, got shredded to bits, doing loads of training. Got nice and strong, you know. Rugby was going great. No, it wasn't at the start, but then it did. And then outside of that, like my relationships with other people, I feel closer to other people now through being vulnerable, like, and saying, like, I'm actually finding this really hard now. And even like some of the hardest conversations I've ever had, you feel closer to people. Do you know what I mean? Like, and even conversations that I don't think they'll want to hear brought me some of probably my closest relationships I've ever had now. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of like, and even particularly if I didn't like when someone else did something, like talking about that, like whether it be with a family member or a friend, like if they said something I didn't like telling them, but it's not a confrontation. I'd always think it'd be a fight. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't end up being that way. Particularly if you articulate your point in a compassionate, like this is how I feel. Right, you've just pissed me off saying that, but this is how I feel. It's not, you're not wrong. This is just how I feel. So like, and that kind of way, I found it really deepened a lot of the relationships that I had, which was nice. But like at the same time, then sometimes like I'm like, oh, I have to be vulnerable again. Like, Jesus. So it's not always.
It's like a blessing and a curse. I actually heard that recently about like self-awareness. Is like the other side of self-awareness that nobody tells you about it. It's fucking hard.
But that's literally what I said earlier.
You can no longer ignore it. Like you can no longer ignore the fact that you have emotions, or you can no longer ignore the fact that like something doesn't align. It's like it would have been easier to be ignorant, but I think like at the same time, yes, it would, but I think you also can see the freedom at the other side of it. Of like internal and external, of what it allows you to do and what it allows you to be. So I take that choice a million times over to have the curse.
But like I said before, it was definitely easier at times, and it was like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I'll just be happy. Which is a class skill, and I still choose to do that a fair bit. But I think understanding how I feel now is definitely been a massive way to unlock a lot other, like, and probably like the depth of feeling and stuff like that, which is it's hard sometimes, but it's nice as well, like, and it's nice to know that I care that much and that I feel that much. And it would have been something like in my household growing up where you were allowed to feel whatever way you felt, like you're allowed to cry, showered in love, like all that stuff. Like I realize I'm very lucky to have had that, but even still, like, it's like I still. And I'd be able to express it like if I was really, really bothered, but not if I was like a little bothered. Do you know what I mean? Which then that grows legs and momentum, and then all of a sudden you're really bothered, you know? And now I feel like I don't get to being really bothered as often, even though I probably feel the smaller stuff more intensely. So I probably get a little bit more bothered than I would have before, but I don't get to like the really stuck part anymore because I'm aware and I'm able to talk about it a bit earlier.
Nice.
And then I just choose to be happy again anyway. Happy.
It's good though. You get to be extra happy.
There you go.
You've probably seen behind the curtain of HHP, like genuinely probably more than anybody else, probably because of our proximity, but like to each other. But like, there's two questions I have in this. If you were to like describe your journey within HHP, because we've worked on a lot of things. We've worked on like yourself and your relationship with yourself, relationships, communication, decision making, your rugby, your business. Fuck it, there's probably loads more in there that we like have covered. If you could describe it in a sentence of like, HHP has done this. Probably should have prepped you for that question. God, What?
into the river. I'd say something along the lines of like HHP has unlocked depth to my life that I didn't know was kind of available or there.
Nice.
So in terms of that, like, life's way bigger now. Before it was quite small.
Yeah.
Like, but it was on the autobahn in Germany going 180 kilometers an hour and being the slowest car there, you know. So I was driving very quick, like, but I was very, very aligned with where I was going. And as soon as I had a bit of a speed wobble or whatever, it's like, I was like, oh, I'll get a bit more aligned on that.
Yeah.
It's way longer than a sentence. I haven't put a full stop in yet. Comma. But it's unlocked a lot of like depth and like just broadness to my life that I now have available to me that I didn't know was there before.
Can you describe that for me?
With quality.
Because I know what that means, right? Because I know your story. And
Yeah.
know what, like, but what does that actually look like in your day-to-day, week-to-week, like the depthness?
Probably freedom, like, in terms of like, because I'm so aligned with what I do now, like, it's just like like some of it's still hard, right? Like, it's not just because I love rugby doesn't mean that it's easy all the time. It still sucks sometimes when I have to go out in the rain and do this and that kind of stuff, or I have to sit at the laptop and still put in a lot of hours on it, like. But there's like an ease to it now.
Yeah.
So like it's freedom because I'm choosing to do it. I want to do that, as opposed to feeling like I have to do it. So I feel like that's been probably quite big. So like, even though some of it still is hard to do and I don't always want to do it, like, there is that ease to it. It's definitely easier than doing something that I don't want to do. And it kind of comes back to that word you used earlier, like, there's an element of harmony to it. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I fair don't want to sit at my laptop today, but at least I'm helping rugby players as opposed to helping accountants. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever other people want to do. Like, so probably like that freedom, ease, harmony would kind of be like the words I'd use, I suppose.
Good, love that.
Full stop.
And then, like, if you were to describe, like, for anybody listening that is like, okay, that's Shane's story, but I still really don't know what HHP does, how would you describe it? We've had multiple conversations like this where I'm like, it's very fucking hard to describe.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's probably, it is hard to describe. Like, probably.
I've been called a unicorn business before, and I'm like, I'll take that.
Unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. There's your useless fact for the day. That's mental.
Kyle will be watching this going, yes!
I fucking love unicorns, Paul. What does HHB do? I suppose it's...
What makes it different? Don't I?
Yeah, it's... Like I said, like, it gives you the opportunity to explore what you really want from life, I suppose. Like, you know, as opposed to... And it helps get you there, but like, it doesn't, like, you don't get there by, I don't know if it's wasting, but like, you get there so much more efficiently in terms of it. Like, I'd probably still be trying to push the PT stuff now, and like, and fair play to anyone that loves that, but it just wasn't my cup of tea, like, you know, like, I didn't get the connection that I wanted from it. There's way more hours in front of the laptop than I wanted. Yeah. Like I said, I still work hard at the laptop now, but it was way more than what I wanted to do. And it was lonely and I didn't like it. So I suppose it gives you the capacity to fall in love with your life, I suppose, is probably, that was a good one.
That was very good.
That was really good.
It's fucking good.
I don't know how I came up with that. But yeah, it probably, it kind of
gets... the river.
Yeah, can't wait to jump in there now. No, it probably, it gives you the capacity to fall in love with the life that you're building so that it's enjoyable. It's a bit of crack, like, you know, as opposed to constantly feeling that tension with life. And it's because that's shy crack, like, you know, but like, it really does give you that, to fall in love with the life that you're building so that you get out of it what you want, which isn't just work all the time. And it's weird when you have a business mentor that pushes you to not just work all the time, you know?
It is weird, it is weird when you have a business mentor. I often find that as well, of like, you know, when we go back to that story of telling you to not focus on your business and focus on your rugby, but like, rugby was your business at the same time, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's strategic, but I think the bit there is like, sometimes I'm telling people to not work, and it does feel so counterintuitive, so counterproductive, but like, I suppose what you've learned from it is the freedom, the ease, the enjoyment. It comes back.
It's that recovery as well. So when you're off, you're off. But then when you're on, you can cook, like, and you can get your stuff done like quickly. Or at a pace that's appropriate, as opposed to taking
Going
4
through.
hours to do a 1 hour project, and
Yeah.
then you've more work to do, and
Yeah.
you don't have any time off, and you don't get to spend it with your family or your partner or your mates or doing fun stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause life's about having fun. Like, that is probably the bottom line of life, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
one of the big things when I was going through all the emotions, that we were like, let's just chase fun with everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like doing. I just like having
Yeah.
the crack. So it's like, how can I make everything a bit more fun?
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. And it's funny how alignment kind of finds you then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was absolutely class, and I appreciate you coming and not falling into the river, because that
Not
was
yet.
a hazard. Could have been down there. But no, I appreciate you, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And I know that this is just the beginning for some way, shape, or form. So it's exciting.
Thanks, Kira.
Nice
Legend. I'll follow you down that road. There you go.
That was good.
That's
That was
good, eh?
great. That was fucking
Thanks.
class.